If you want to see a beautifully shot and designed story set in 1990, but where the main character uses a diary dated 2024, a movie where a grown man in a car incredibly uses a torchlight to search for his daughter while the car's headlights are fully on and the windows are all rolled up. And the uncanny face of Temi Otedola, where she is somehow able to emote without any wrinkles forming on her face. Miss Kanyin is the movie for you. This movie is currently showing on Amazon Prime Video. It basically sneaked up on me because I only just noticed it on the What Kept Me Up Nollywood movie release calendar that I used to do reviews. I only saw the trailer after the movie before I realized that it was supposed to be a horror movie. I mean, I'm not saying I just thought it was a good thriller or something. So the main character is Temi Otedola, the daughter of Femi Otedola, who, if you don't know, is one of Nigeria's wealthiest men. He's also father to DJ Copy. I think that's Florence Otedola, both the old and the new version, and the largest shareholder in First Bank of Nigeria. I didn't know that Temi Otedola was an actress. This is actually my first time seeing her in a movie. So, let's see how it goes. All right, then. We start the movie with some historical context. We see a Portuguese guy being fascinated by an ancient tree with strange markings on it. And while he attempts to take a picture in front of it, he is mysteriously beheaded, and the rest of the party, including slaves from Old Benin City, I guess, are destroyed. I found the graphics for the tree a little embarrassing because it was always just too bright and it was too offset from the environment, both in lighting and texture. But I just overlooked that because I know it's Nigeria CGI. I don't want to expect too much anyway. But let me get back to this intro for just an extra second. The Portuguese guy asked his Benin guide how much longer to Old Benin City, and he says 4 hours. The white man complains and says that the guide ought to move faster because he wants to be there before nightfall. Seconds later, they come upon a tree, and the guide does his meow 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 meow, which the white guy's translator translates as.
He says we can't stay here. Battery.
Nonsense. Put me down.
But nobody asked the clowns to stay there. The man explicitly said that they should hurry up so that they will arrive in Benin before nightfall. So it was such a weird way for the movie to force the white man to finally notice, be fascinated, and be killed by the spirit of the tree. Why didn't you just make it so that it was the white guy that saw the tree first and asked them to stop? So yeah, we get the idea. Evil tree. Now we come to the present day at a boarding school called Sterling Academy, built just near an obviously dangerous tree. And I really like this opening animation, by the way. Our main character is a light-skinned honey, Amarachi Eze, who is currently living in the 1990s. But you wouldn't know it since her diary is dated 2024, to my great dismay. I saw this literally the first time I saw this movie, and I was pretty shocked that nobody on the production noticed it. Like, the cameraman pointed the camera to the book in a 90s set, and it did not occur to anyone employed or in charge of these Nemsia studios who produced this movie to remove, edit, or just change the current year. That's insane. I've rarely seen this kind of lack of attention to detail for something so glaring. Amarachi's biggest problem in life is that she wants to get into Harvard later that year, but she's bad at French, and that could cost her her admission. We found out that Amarachi fails French because her fellow students look up her results on the mock exam scoreboard. So she's an A student, everyone knows her. Now, in the actual movie, you don't see her name on the scoreboard. You don't see that she has a C because the editors cut it off for some reason. But her name is very visible on the trailer. In fact, it's so visible because her name was clearly written bigger and bolder than those of the other students, which was really weird and probably why it was cut out of the final edit, maybe because it makes no sense to have just one name stand out. In this film and in this school, where none of the uniforms have any badge or logo, we follow 5 students. These 2 girls, who I will just describe as Lip 1 and Lip 2, because I don't think they have any distinguishing character. Oh, no. One of them wants to finish school and go to New York to model. For some reason, her parents need her to pass her WAEC with flying colors. Do you need good grades to model, though? I thought you just needed to be alive and hungry looking with your rib cage showing faintly through your breast. I don't really. So, okay, so what happens if she then gets bad grades in WAEC? She becomes an accountant instead of what? We have Finn, the bad guy of the gang, who consoles Amara by telling her that his father will talk to someone in Harvard on her behalf. So, if your Nigerian father can talk to someone in Harvard to facilitate an admission, why are you in a red brick secondary school in the forest in Benin City, my guy? Like, does your father not want the best for you? Does he already believe that you end up selling pure water after school or what? We have Uti in the clique, a character played by Natse Jemide. I thought it looked familiar. My mind kept saying, check Lara Unlimited. But the other part of my head kept saying, nah, the actor in Lara Unlimited was very light skinned. Only for me to check and find out that that is the same person. So it would then appear that even the colorist in Lara Unlimited didn't know what they were doing and then just somehow decided to make everyone light skinned. Finally, we have Chisom, the principal's daughter, and a prefect of some sort. Amarachi is also a prefect, though I don't know what. So they don't really do the school part of this school thing well at all in this movie. Like, you barely see actual any schooling going on. Chisom used to be BFFs with our lead, Amarachi, but something happened and Amarachi found a new clique. I don't know. But first of all, before I continue, I wanted to appreciate the school and the boarding house vibe. I thought the school looked incredible. It really, really. I went to boarding house for SS1 to SS3, so this school vibes really, really put me in that zone. You know, with the students, with the dining hall. I absolutely love the use of red bricks in this movie. I thought this was fantastic. I don't know if the movie was built the set was built specifically for the movie or they found this out on location, but it looks fantastic. The titular character of this movie, Miss Kanyin, is the French teacher at this school, and she's currently at odds with some of the male teachers because of how haughty they consider her to be. And to be honest, her behavior confounds me sometimes. For example, she accosts a male student standing with a girl, even though he isn't shown to be doing anything wrong. She's bothered about his fake earring, even though it's very late at night and things like this are common in boarding house outside school hours. I mean, I went to boarding house, so I know this is not like a big deal. In another scene, she releases a girl being punished by another teacher, even though the teacher is sitting right there, right before she calls the other teachers Neanderthals for discussing student grades. I thought that was pretty implausible. I don't know. I don't. Miss Kanye is not nearly as angelic or as nice as the movie sort of tries to make her, or as blameless as they try to make her to be. I don't know. Miss Kanye strikes a friendship with Mustafa, another teacher at the school. I don't even know what he teaches. I tell you, in this movie, you won't know anything about school. You will not even believe that it's a school movie, if not for the fact that these people all wear uniforms. Later on, Miss Kanyin, who is famously afraid of dogs, is summoned to the principal's house to discuss with the principal and a member of the WAEC exam board about securing the exam questions for the upcoming exams to prevent a leak. She suggests...
What about the youth corps members?
Corps members? That's what she said. Miss Kanyin, you teach French, reportedly, since we never even hear you speak it or teach it. You say ma chérie sometimes, at least for the first 10 minutes of this film, before she forgot all about it. And speak of Paris, I mean, that's what the teacher said. We never actually hear her. You, more than anybody in this film, should have known that corps is a French word and is therefore pronounced corps. Corps member, come on. This should have gone without saying for the character, and nobody seemed to have picked up on it. For some reason, the principal entrusts her with the exam papers. I mean, he's the principal, he has a big house. Why does he not lock it in his safe? The principal even has a safe right beside his office chair that we can all see in his office. So, what so impressed you about the French teacher to entrust this great responsibility to her? Plus, why this small sheaf of papers though? Shouldn't it be like 10 bundles of papers to account for all the subjects, right? It's WAEC, not a midterm test. On her way out of the house, Miss Kanyin is surprised by the dog that the principal's daughter is walking, and so she drops the sealed exam paper in fear. Amarachi, who just happened to be around, sees the envelope and imagines that her much-dreaded French exam paper is somewhere in there, giving her the inklings of a mischievous idea. On opening day, Amarachi receives a letter from Harvard University informing her of her conditional acceptance, which is based on her performance in WAEC and her extracurricular activities, none of which are actually shown. Desperate and driven to her wit's end, Amarachi tries to guilt trip Miss Kanyin into showing her the French papers before the exam, but the woman is having none of it, especially as she was still recovering from the trauma of being assaulted by Finn's dad on opening day. People keep mentioning Miss Kanyin in relation to Paris too. Even Amarachi did that a lot while she was guilt tripping her. So is her dream to visit Paris or to teach in Paris or what? We never learn anything about this important character who always seems to be troubled by something, and I considered it a waste of storytelling. Teaching French in Nigeria won't get you work in Paris because, I'm sure if I check my notes, they will confirm that everyone in Paris speaks French already. So what's the deal? I mean, does the English teacher want to go to England and teach? Does the economics teacher want to work at the World Bank? I don't know. What does all this mean? Amarachi leaves the French teacher in tears, just as the other teacher who is interested in her, Mr. Mustafa, enters. And the first thing this clown says is,
What happened to calling me musty?
bro, are you a fool? Is this a joke to you? Is this the right time for such a quip? And then, without showing any curiosity as to why Amarachi just left the woman, she asks to take her on a date that weekend. And all of this is done to the hearing of Amarachi Eze. Now, on her part, the frustrated Amarachi convinces her friends that they need to break into the teacher's house and make copies of the exam papers when a woman leaves on her date with Mustafa. Now, some of them are not for it, but Finn dilly-dallies until he has an altercation with the French teacher in public, where he foolishly brings up his father's assault of her to a resounding dirty slap from her. Now, he's in with a vengeance. Meow, 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 meow. Finally, Amara guilt trips her former best friend, Chisom, into aiding and abetting this dangerous plan. Okay, guys, let's look at this Ocean's 11 style plan. Chisom is to make a sketch of the padlock and keys, of the teacher's lockbox and give it to Finn to buy a replica from the town. Okay, but why? Who knows? Then, what does that even mean? If you break her padlock, she will know the padlock has been tampered with, especially if you are going to burn or melt it as you are implying by shaving the phosphorus of the matches. If her keys don't work, why would she buy a new padlock? Like the padlock that Finn bought from town, what was it for? Is he going to sell it to their teacher when she discovers that her padlock to the box with the exam questions is faulty? I honestly, I don't understand the gibberish that Temi Otedla was spewing here. They just wrote around nonsense for her to say. It was also incredibly silly for her to assume that the teacher will keep exam questions in a lockbox that is in her living room. The living room where everyone sits. It's just insane to me. Lami, I think the one that wants to model in New York, is tasked with creating masks. And because her brain is already anorexic in preparation for modeling in New York, she used a white cloth to create this Ku Klux Klan abomination that is basically begging to be noticed in the middle of the night. On the appointed night, Miss Kanyin goes off on a date with Mustafa, and the students break in with Chisom, the principal's daughter, using the excuse of walking the dog to be part of the heist. They attempt to use the match shavings to burn the padlock, but that doesn't work. And I could have told you that for free. What are you talking about? So they then actually began looking for the key to the box. So what was the point of what that whole... There are some things wrong here. I honestly thought they had been buying a replica of her padlock so that they could practice opening it up on their own before the appointed night. I also thought at the same time that Chisom was supposed to make a sketch of the padlock's key so that they could get it to a key maker in town for replication. So I don't understand what their actual plan was, but for me, they could have just copied the key and recorded it, or just pressed the woman's key in a bar of soap. Chisom frequents the woman's house a lot. Press her key in a bar of soap and... I used that same padlock in secondary school in boarding house. That thing is impossible. You cannot just break. You have to break it. You have to smash it. You cannot just use phosphorus or what is as mechanical as they come. Just look at the leaders of Nigeria's tomorrow. They can't even plan a simple breaking and entering. Just made me nauseous while watching. Ugh. As for the dates, it doesn't go well as Mustafa's plans decides to stop working on the way. Miss Kanye thought that this was cute. Of course, this is how Nigerian writers copy foreign sentiments. Because I don't know why being stuck in a bush with mosquitoes and future malaria potential is enjoyable. I don't think Miss Kanye actually has any love at home, and it's crazy that the writers actually teach us nothing about this character. For some reason, after the car is fixed, Mustafa drives her home. I'm not exactly sure what is happening, but why not go on the date anymore? The car fixing seemed to have happened in absolutely no time, so I don't understand why they just went back. I mean, aside for the movie to surprise the students, of course. As for the criminal enterprise we were following earlier, the students end up not being able to open the key to the padlock. I really don't understand the plan. Put matches powder inside the padlock. It's But Finn takes it a step further by peeing in the teacher's bed and basically scattering her house as Mustafa and the teacher arrive. Miss Kanyin drops from the car, kisses Mustafa goodnight, and says,
It's late. Go home.
"Oh, I thought you liked servicing his engine with him, Miss French teacher who never teaches French. Eh? Don't you want him to come and service your own engine too? Meow, 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 meow." A lot of nonsense happens, and Finn, who was holding Achisom's dog, while Achisom tried to distract the woman from finding Amara in the house, ends up releasing the dog to chase Miss Kanyin into the forest, where she trips and breaks her neck before bleeding out onto the evil tree. By morning, Chisom finds the dog Petra mysteriously killed in front of the principal's house. People begin sighting dead dogs all over town now, as it seems that the spirit of the tree now prefers dog meat somehow. Now, no one actually knows for sure that Miss Connie is dead. They just know that she's absent. So Mustafa, her date on that night, begins looking for her before informing the principal that she's missing. The teachers organize into a posse and go into the forest like a search party to find her, but still nothing. Miss Kanyin, on the other hand, is up to no good. She murders Lamy, the New York model, in the toilet by slashing her throat. Uti and Chisom think that the dead dog, the missing teacher, and Lamy's death may be connected, but Finn thinks that it's all just ghost stories. The teacher, Mustafa, gets a break in this case when he discovers the necklace that he had given Miss Kanye on a wheelbarrow of rotten maize that a farmer was complaining about. Why wasn't this necklace in the farmer's pocket, or why was he not even wearing it so that it could have more organically just come up in the conversation? I don't know. He didn't intend to bring any news of the chain to Mustafa, so why would he toss a tiny, delicate gold chain into his full wheelbarrow of rotten crops? That was just unbelievable. The farmer ends up taking Mustafa and Chisom to the location where he found the necklace, and then they discovered the blood on the tree. The farmer gets panicky, and instead of giving them the hot gist himself there, he decides to waste our time by taking them to his father for the story of the tree. Why Uti, who is doing his usual swimming, is attacked and drowned by the very angry Miss Coin. There's a weird scene where Amarachi asks Fidite where he learned about the legend of the tree before they hung out near it one night earlier in the movie. And he says that he found it in Britannica. And then Amarachi runs to the library and finds the entry, which is how I know that the director never read Britannica. That thing is more than 30 volumes. And before you Gen Zs could use Google to find info instantly, we had to enter the school library, look for the appropriate volume in the World Book Encyclopedia or Britannica, and then find the name of the thing that we were looking for. So just saying Britannica means absolutely nothing. At the conclusion of the movie, all the main characters end up meeting at the tree somehow to destroy it. A lot of shenanigans happen when Miss Konye appears to stop them. And Mustafa, thinking that this is a Hollywood movie or whatever, decides to start gisting with her. But only after instructing the two girls that were with him, Chisom and Amara, to go around the ghost and burn down the tree. I mean, huh? Like, you see a dead lover. And don't forget, these people are not sure that she's dead. So this is the first time he's seen Miss Connie. And he's not even shocked. He's not surprised that, his former lover is a ghost or is a horror-looking thing. And you are not even sure that she was dead since there was no dead body and you only had a necklace. But the first thing that came to your mind was to tell two teenage girls to go around her, like sneak up on a ghost. How do you do that? How do you surprise a spirit? Have you seen a spirit before? How do you know that she doesn't have like eyes on her bum or something? Like that was just insane. In the end, some more people die, and the tree is finally burned down. Okay, so this video is getting like super long. Maybe I should not have made it this detailed. But let's just breeze through the verdict. First of all, I think that the movie is technically beautiful. I absolutely love the location, and the exterior of the principal's house just give me joy. This is how I imagine building like my own house someday, like red bricks instead of those white matchboxes that you people have in Lagos. A compound with grass instead of ugly cement, and a roof that does not assault the senses by being unnecessarily high and slopey. I really, really, really love the architecture of this movie because it just gives the whole thing a very rural, remote feeling. I loved it. I also really appreciate the boarding school vibes because I went to boarding school and this movie just brought back so many memories, especially in the dining hall. Even a memory concerning that stealing of exam question. But okay, I thought it was very well done. So for the cinematography, I loved it. You know, it could be better, but for what it was, it's 5/5. I loved it. Not even capping. I loved every shot. Well, except for this shot where the boom mic slips into the screen. Now, for the acting, I have no issues. I think everyone was great, and whoever was not was saved by the astounding red brick architecture of the school, which, like I've said, I love so much. I actually wonder if this is a real school or if it was built for this purpose. Temi Otedola did great. I think I think she's a very good actress. My weird nitpick about her is that her face, it doesn't have wrinkles. It doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't break up light. Every time she is in full view, like her face is in view, it's just perfectly round and perfectly the same color everywhere, which it just seemed a bit odd. Like either her makeup was too perfect or I don't know. And I just didn't see any wrinkles, which I thought was uncanny. You see her speaking in the same scene with someone like Achisom, and you see when the camera moves to the person, it looks like a human being. You know, slight wrinkles when they squeeze their face or when they frown. But then it goes back to Otedola, and it's just like you're looking at the sun, just a bright yellow face with no wrinkles. Even when she frowns, like her skin was drawn tight over over her skull. I don't know. It just looked a bit odd, though the emotions came true. It's just that the physical aspect of it just looked a bit odd. So for the acting, I'll give it it's a 4/5 from me, to be honest. For the plot now, the plot is quite gibberish. It's just a bunch of very loose things that are connected by a tree. Miss Kanyin is barely a human being. She's just a reason for the story to exist, right? She always looks like she wants to go to the toilet, but we never learn anything more about her. So I don't really know anything or care that much about her. That whole the robbery plan was just gibberish, and I have no idea what they were yapping about. The necklace thing was trash too. The story of the elders or the ancestors not being able to cut the tree because the land had been sold when they decided to cut the tree was just arrant nonsense. I mean, why not call Echiwetalago to come and do it for you? Eh? I also don't think that this is a horror movie. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe a very good thriller. People keep saying this is a Madame Koi Koi derivative. I don't see it. I never thought of Madame Koi Koi for 1 second while watching this. The sound of heels clicking doesn't stand out, and it's never used like thematically as I would expect if the movie was alluding to Madame Koi Koi. She doesn't scare people. She doesn't cause terror in this. She just kills them outright. So there's no time for the legend to even form. So who will now call this Madame Koi Koi? Who is alive to say I heard, the Koi Koi of her shoes? Nothing concerns Madame Koi Koi with this movie as far as I'm concerned. Also, I like that our main character is not a good person. They hint at what she's done, and I like that her desperation drives her to do bad things for her own good and nobody else's. So I like that she's not like anywhere near perfect. So yeah, the story, but in the end, the story will get like maybe a 2/5 from me because it's really, really weak. The editing is a 4/5 because I liked it. The location, of course, 5/5. Overall, the movie is a little less than the sum of its parts because the rambling story undermines the great technical work that went into this. Yeah, the CGI too. I should probably mention the CGI for the accident for the cars. I really liked, but for the tree, it was really bad. So maybe for the CGI, I'll give it a 2.5/5. That tree just no. But all in all, for the entire movie, I'll give it a 3/5. All right, that's it from me. I will see you on the next one.